This is to create a new system using Excel Civic platform to combine our over 42 different code enforcement and permitting processes into a single piece of software that helps us manage that. At the same time, we're going to be kind of re-engineering what those processes are to make them much more efficient. So we see a lot of benefit in this. This is for the 3-year agreement. This is a software as a service platform. I think we got the kind of a one-page handout that describes all the processes we're doing and all that. I think I got that in the packet. I have some handouts if you need it. But it'll give us a lot of benefits as far as allowing all the departments that work in code enforcement and permitting to coordinate with each other, improving compliance and record keeping and tracking where everything is in the process, reducing errors in our work and rework and rescheduling. A lot of code enforcement has to do with meeting a person or a business at a site. And instead of, say, if we had 5 or 6 different points of contact for a project they were doing, you could get that to say, okay, we're all going to be there on this day at this time, and we can take it all at once. So a very big benefit in customer service as well.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I'll do.
Okay, well, I'll let the committee members ask their questions first, and then I'll let Councilor Williams ask his questions.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a few questions. This system is new, so this is like a retooling or a new process for a current system. I noticed that a couple of things I want to ask. Training involved. Is this just more on the permitting side of it? I'm just wondering, how does this involve the work of the code inspectors and what we said, compliance and record keeping and reporting? Could you give a little bit more information on that and how they would apply to enhance what we currently have and make it better? I'm hoping.
Of course. Really, our current regimen of code enforcement, this does apply to both permitting, code enforcement, inspections, all of that, all those things. You'll see the list we gave out here. Depending on how you count it, it's 42 different processes that we do for that sort of thing, or 54, depending on how you count. But over the last 150 years of Birmingham's history, each one of those has been developed as a need of those. And as far as we can tell, never did we say, okay, let's look at all of our code enforcement and inspection and permitting processes at once. And how do we make those more efficient? How do we make them work together? How can we schedule them together? How can we make sure that we're doing our record keeping similarly so it's much more efficient? And this is an opportunity to do that. A piece of this, I think maybe 9 of these processes currently fall under a product we have called Tidemark, and it's from the same software vendor. So we're upgrading those and redesigning the business process around them. But the additional 30 to 40 processes, we're also going to be redesigning the business process around. It might lead to some reorganization, how we do the work, and I'm sure it will affect how we do the work. But it should be very big benefits as far as what either a person looking for, say, a zoning change or building permit, or for a contractor working in Birmingham. When we're done with this, there'll be a huge difference in our customer service there and their ability to work with us. On the training side, you're absolutely right. There's going to be a very large training need, and we anticipate that as part of the project.
And this is, it's not cloud-based, I'm assuming. It's like an application that we'll download and we'll have available for our use.
Actually, it is cloud-based. Right now, a lot of our inspectors actually go out in the field with a notepad to write it down on a piece of paper and bring it back and type it up on the computer. Some of them are taking pictures with a camera that they're carrying around. Some of them go through all different kinds of processes. Some of these processes are in Excel spreadsheets. Some of these processes are managed in Access databases. Some of them are completely paper. A few of them are on their own applications. Getting them all into one process that can be monitored and reported on and coordinated is just going to be a huge change for us. What the inspectors will be able to do is use either laptops or iPads out in the field, take the picture with the iPad, do all of their work there. Because it's cloud-based, they'll be able to access that application from anywhere and pull down the data for it. We're going to interface this with our GIS system so that they can get the data they need there while they're doing it. so they can complete their work in the field and not have that driving back and forth. It's a much more efficient way to work.
And
We also avoid the cost of the servers and everything on our end and the maintenance of the servers because it's cloud-based.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Smith.
I don't have any questions for this one.
I have sort of a detailed one, so Councilor Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On this, it looks like that there's a few different applications that that include fire permitting. So is that our actual fire department inspection is going to be done through this software as well?
Yes.
Okay. Is this something that's can they easily pull reports from, can an inspector or whoever easily pull reports from it based on the location? So let me illustrate that. One problem we have with certain bars or venues is their unwillingness to comply with different areas of code enforcement. Usually that looks like it's some sort of fire code typically, but sometimes it's other code enforcement. So could an inspector actually pull per location, what the history is with either an applicant or a location, their willingness to comply with our fire code?
Yes, sir. This will be the first time we're able to actually go in and say, based on this address, or based on this applicant, give me every single code, every single touch they've had, either request or violation or anything, with code enforcement. Now, as far as how much data we are able to convert, that depends really a lot of different factors. But as far as the point when we go live going forward, we would have that data.
So is this an annual contract?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Well, I have a question, and I want to give you an example. Let's say a person turns in someone for doing construction on a single-family home in a single-family neighborhood without a permit. They're sneaking in there on the weekends, sneaking around at night, and the way the neighbors know it is all the noise. So if the police are called about the noise, can the police access anything to find out if the people even have a building permit? Or are the police not involved in this?
There actually are a couple of police processes in this. They do permitting on all
Okay,
traffic.
but let's say there's a noise complaint because people are sawing and hammering and nailing at midnight so that they can avoid y'all catching them.
We can certainly do that.
So the police would have access to this. Okay, and then let's say in the daytime, there's a zoning complaint that someone's doing construction and the inspector goes and finds that the people have divided the single-family home into apartments. So will the person who inspects be able to look in the system and tell if someone at City Hall accidentally gave them permission to divide it into apartments?
If that's stored in the system, if the person who accidentally gave the permission did it in the system, then it would be there and they would be able to see. I have to admit, when you get down to the super details of every possible code enforcement item, I'm the IT guy and I'm just not that great of an expert. But we can certainly, if there are large concerns like that you've experienced in the past, we want to capture them and make sure that we address them as we build out the system. So it's a highly configurable system. You can imagine every municipality has their own requirements and needs. So a lot of the work involved in this is going to be around capturing all of those specific scenarios.
Yeah.
So we can capture those now and make sure we build them.
But when the inspector arrives, he or she can look in the system and see what the city has granted so far.
Correct.
If not a building permit or something, they might have granted something else, a sewer connection or a curb cut or a driveway permit or a fence permit or whatever.
For the first time, they'll be able to see everything that's associated with that property.
Okay, so they can catch people when they tell them stories. Okay, good. Well, I'm excited about this. To me, just reading down the list made me happy. So, any other questions before we vote? Well, all in favor, say aye. Aye. So the ayes have it, and we will send this on to the full council. Who will be the person who actually can answer the questions about the little minutia of how it might work? Is there somebody who's already been indoctrinated?
because we've all been working together on this to get the project this far. But it would really depend on the question you've got, because we have so many different departments that do some type of code enforcement.
Will the city council members be able to access it and find out what's been granted at a different locations?
I don't know at this point. It's something we have to look
Yeah, because that would really help, you know, when counselors get complaints, we could just check and not have to bother anyone, so that might be kind of nice. Okay, well, thank you.
at. Thank you.